We are live on social media, going live on the radio in 30 seconds. Welcome to Innovative Strategies with Bill Haase. This is a show designed to help people with their business and personal financial literacy, but not the way you have known. It's not your grandpa's financial literacy, as Bill uses his 30 plus years in the financial industry to stretch your financial box, from about a 30,000 foot view of things. Bill and his guests have helped hundreds of clients achieve and surpass their financial goals. If you have questions, email Bill at billhaase.com. That's BILL at BILLHAASE.com, or reach out to him right here at 216net at gmail.com and just put innovative strategies in the subject line. That's it. Of course, today, speaking of emails, today's all about the inbox.
The inbox. Yeah, it's time to get to that.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good.
Like the slight little change to that introduction.
Yeah.
Just not sure if anybody will catch that.
They'll catch it.
But they'll get that.
A little subliminal message there in the opening, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, it's let's clean out the inbox a little bit of some of the things we've been receiving in and talking to some folks about. Last week was a phenomenal show.
Yeah.
Michelle Prather and even professionals who are in the world of selling that long-term care stuff were reaching out and saying, great information.
Yeah.
We love the fact that we're selling a product, we're providing information and value.
Yeah, we got a ton of feedback on that. Yeah, it was just great. And a lot of people had said, and that's why, if you're tuned in, you're listening, like, share out there on YouTube, Bill's Facebook page as well. But that's what this show is all about, is to inform and give you, things to think about, not to sell.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not here to provide you with specific products or investments or anything like that.
Good morning, Sally.
Kind of provide you with information and
morning,
knowledge.
Tim.
Because as Michelle so aptly put it, and Sally, thanks for joining. Good morning. And Sally aptly pointed out to me after the show as well, what I caught, that line towards the end there when Michelle said, knowledge provides you with options provide you with freedom.
Yeah.
And I know that's not verbatim, but the thought is there, the idea is there, and it's so true. And it's never more true than when you're dealing with finances, especially, and you're dealing in worlds that you don't understand. So knowledge is power. Knowledge provides options provide freedom. But good time there. Again, welcome, Mr. Tim Stewart. How are you doing this morning? Thanks for coming on and then listening in now. So we got some other things in the box that some people have been reaching out to me talking about. We got this Fed meeting today.
Big time. It's a big issue.
Mr. Jerome Powell is coming out and having a little conversation. Now, I come from the day of Alan Greenspan.
Yeah.
Where when he spoke, we had to learn what we called green speak. That's like,
remember that? Yeah, I remember that.
Between the lines.
Yeah.
Because boy, could that man influence a market like no other. Mr. Powell will be coming out today, and we're hoping and expecting he's going to lay out a little bit of what we can expect in the future here, because we got this little problem with inflation. They're claiming it's 7%, and it's probably more like 17 to 37%. But and the Feds have changed the way in which they're reacting to the economy. So historically, it would front run inflation by raising interest rates and trying to slow the pace down of inflation. We've changed that direction, and now they're chasing the tiger by the tail, I think. And it's a dangerous path, I think, but that's because I'm old school, I guess. But they're now going to start raising interest rates after inflation has already taken effect and taken its hold. You remember just a few months ago, this was called transitory inflation, meaning, it's only going to be here for a month or 2 or 3, 4, 7.
Well, and of course the president of the United States a couple days ago, of course, caught on the hot mic saying inflation's good, need more inflation.
Yeah, that's what everybody wants.
I don't get it.
No, I don't get that much either. But there are.
And then he followed it up with a couple of expletives.
And is purposeful and meaningful, has its place, but overall, people would rather not see inflation. We've got gas bill, electric bill, water bills, everything going up. Gas at the pump. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
It's you drive by. Although you drive by one place, it's $3.14 a gallon. I drive by another place, it's $4.35 a gallon.
It's crazy. The interesting thing is, I think, Bill, though, we forget a lot about just basic economics, right? Supply and demand. And that would be good if that were the case, right? But, the interesting thing is, I come from Iowa, where there's some meat packing plants and whatnot. And, they have the same number of employees working at that meat packing plant. There's not a shortage of cows, and there's not a shortage of trucks that will deliver that meat. But across the street at the grocery store, there's not necessarily a overwhelmingly short supply of workers. Yet that goofy steak has just jumped $3. A pound.
Well, it's interesting because we do know we're seeing more and more of these the shelves getting more bare,
right,
in all stores, not just grocery stores. But there was a story yesterday, the day before. There's a lot of extra meat out there, and the reason being is restaurants are closing or not fulfilling their orders because they don't have as many patrons coming in.
Yeah.
So now all the restaurant industry, all that food is kind of backing up, piling up.
Yeah.
Maybe we could move some of that into the consumer world.
Yeah. That's what Sally says, or it's not even there to buy at all. But there's not a shortage of cow.
Right. There's and you'll notice once you my wife and I don't shop one day for the full week. We have a tendency to shop per meal, maybe for a couple of meals at a time. And we're finding out that that's kind of getting to be a dangerous way to plan, because if you decide, I'm going to make this meal tonight, this one tomorrow night, and you go to the store and they don't have the product, you put it together, now you're scrambling. All right, what am I going to change? And usually when that happens, you wind up spending more money than you could planned on spending.
So Sally says she's considering buying a cow. It's ridiculous. And if you're going to do that, talk to Mary Shep from Living Low Sodium on Saturday mornings here, 216 The Net at 11 a.m. Central. She knows quite a few farmers. If you've got the room in your freezer, that's not a bad way to go.
Yeah, or go in with 2 or 3 or 4 other people.
Right.
Buy a cow.
600 pounds of meat's a lot of meat.
Or if they'll do that for you and then divide it up.
Yeah.
It's a very cost-effective way to handle that. That's depends. I don't eat as much beef as I used to.
Yeah. That sounds funny.
It's trying to
trying
a little bit more
healthy, quote unquote. I've had chicken every day this week, so you can talk about that. So the interesting thing is, what does this then do to portfolios? What does this then do to the way I should run my business? With inflation, prices going up, now people are wanting for minimum wage to be $15 an hour.
Right.
That is starting to perhaps take a toll as well with some of these prices, right? Because
well, it takes a toll. It takes a toll in different ways. So it
Yeah.
takes a toll on small businesses, especially.
Yeah.
Um, making them pay more money for the help, which they kind of have to now anyway because nobody wants to work. So
Right.
they've got to have some kind of incentive. Financial is not always the best incentive, by the way, but certainly it's a part of any incentive. It's people get paid more money, they can afford to buy more things, or they can afford to
Right.
pay more for what they're buying.
Right.
Right. I mean, look at used cars. I mean, I drove by the lot here and I looked at the prices of used cars and vehicles, and I'm just like, you got to be kidding me.
Ridiculous.
Who would pay that kind of money for that piece of junk?
Yeah.
And it's, but like home selling, if you're in the market to sell, you're in a good position.
Mm-hmm.
But if then you have to turn around and buy, it may not be that advantageous.
Well, I can't speak for our friends, across the pond. But we have created a society here in the United States of America where we haven't educated, and I'm going to say maybe even up into the 30s age of 30s, we haven't really educated on economics. We haven't educated, everything's been at their fingertips.
There's a shift there too.
Yeah.
So this past week I had a conversation with the gentleman who runs a philanthropy department at Carmel High School.
Okay.
Where my kids attended. They are starting to focus a little bit on a course that they have. They're going to be teaching some financial literacy a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm hopefully going to become a part of that and a part of possibly putting some form of a class together.
Sure.
To teach not just financial literacy, but ethics in going into work.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of folks, they want to go into their own business. They don't want to go into the corporate world. And that's kind of why the shift going to make this shift that we're going to be making going forward. We'll get to later on. So,
in today's society, I mean, especially if you're a business owner and you sell goods, is, hey, if I am the lowest or I have the best coupon out there, for my good. So let's say that I'm selling a widget, and there's 6 other widgets out there, but I come in $1.50 lower than the other widgets. I could still be way overpriced.
Oh,
but today's buyer is going to go, oh, look, I saved $1.50. This is, it's the exact same thing, exact same widget. I get it cheaper now.
So the word there is exact same,
right?
So you're talking the same quality, everything. That's fine, but typically you pay for quality, right?
Yeah.
And we learn that lesson over and over again through life.
Always.
We buy the cheapo furniture, and it doesn't really work that well, and it becomes wobbly, or over a short period of time. Whereas you buy that nice piece of furniture that's expensive, but it lasts a long, long time.
Yeah.
Same thing, cars, and so many other aspects, but quality is a very important factor.
Yeah.
You'll notice though, as we're talking about pricing and stuff. So last quarter, a lot of the reports that came out from businesses reporting higher sales and greater income, but it was all based on smaller amounts of products being sold or services being sold. So that automatically that's inflation.
Yeah.
And just the only way you can make more money selling less product is jacking up the price. And and that's happening in every aspect of our lives, I think. Grocery store, clothing store, to get out there. I like to get out to the stores. I like to see what's going on.
Yeah.
I like to see what people are buying. I like to see what the trends are. And I like to see it. We can read all these stories we want. But East Coast is doing this. Well, who knows?
Right.
Maybe they saw that on one street corner. Who knows? But and that's part of the problem too, right? Who knows?
Who knows?
We have been inundated with so much misinformation and poor information over the last 2 years that we don't know what to believe in.
Right. Right.
And I think people are fed up with it. I think they're starting to take their heads out of the sand and say, you know what, I'm not putting up with it anymore. You can do your own research. You can find out your own answers.
And we've seen that with small businesses. And of course, this show, Innovative Strategies, is brilliant, helping small businesses in their financial literacy. But we've kind of seen that across our area here in the Midwest where, I'm not shutting down. I've got to pay my bills. So arrest me if you have to, but I'm not shutting my business down.
It's persevering.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say stubbornness. It's persevering. And God bless you all out there that are persevering and pushing forward and working hard and trying to make it happen. And on that note, that's what we're going to be looking to do going forward with this show. I'm going to bring on more and more experts in areas that can specifically help you in your world, whether it's a small business or personal world, because and we'll do the work-life balance. We'll have folks in that'll help with that. But I'll bring in people that are specializing in sales or marketing or commercial real estate, commercial lending, which we've had like Dee Korczak in the past year, helping us with that. I hope to get her back on. So we're going to bring in specialist people, but we're going to have a little bit of a different focus. All right, so maybe it's a web designer. It's just all these people who can affect your business, small, medium-sized startup, even big business. And what we're going to do is, as these people come on, they're going to inform you of some of the trials and tribulations and hiccups that you might experience trying to grow your business.
Yeah.
And we're going to provide you with solutions how to get past that. So the idea is to help maybe reduce the amount of pain that a business owner goes through, and maybe shorten that time frame for them to reach a successful plateau or successful position, let's say.
So one of the questions that has come in over the last couple of weeks, and here is Sally says, I'm a process and growth expert. I'd love to join you on the show sometime. I literally grew our business 400% just by joining Tim and standing up a tight process that allowed us to make data-driven decisions. It's what I was responsible for in my corporate life as well.
Well, let's point out first of all that Tim is your husband.
Yeah.
And clearly he needed help.
Well,
right, Sally?
But actually,
I'm going to come talk to you about this after the show.
Actually, I would love to have her on. It's actually a really,
absolutely,
it's really a neat partnership that they have, and it's not about husband and wife. It's really, it's really, really cool to do. She's also a Salesforce expert. A lot of folks use that. Yeah, some people.
Yeah, that's one I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Sal, you and I can talk about that, but you got to take like a full semester of senior level college to understand how to use.
There's
Salesforce.
a lot of ins and outs on that for sure.
Yeah, it's a big one. Of all the CRMs, that's probably the biggest one. That it probably can do more than most of the others as well. But again, time frame to learn how to use all that is quite high.
Mm-hmm. So one of the questions that came in, I don't know if it's really a question or more of a statement, is that today's consumer is highly educated. They do research online. They know exactly, the style of product and or service that they're looking for, and it's making sales obsolete. What are your thoughts on how to work with a more educated end user?
Well, and I almost would argue about the consumer being that much smarter about their purchases. I heard on the radio on the way in this morning, $761 billion are expected, and products are expected to be returned. This is from the Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
That's a lot of returns. That's a lot of not well educated, well thought out purchase of a gift or a product. And I get it. We were a great marketing plan started back in early November. Buy your presents now because there's not going to be anything on the shelves by Christmas time. And it was great. Got people out spending money. Got people out buying products earlier than normal.
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't hurt the economy at all, but that helps a bit. I don't know that they're more intelligent. There's certainly opportunity to be more intelligent in your purchase power. You can do your research. We have technology. I mean, technology is the one thing that is driving so much of everything else right now. Where a lot of business owners are trying to learn how to use technology to reduce the number of employees or to change their workload. In other words, have technology and be able to do certain aspects of a person's job that opens them up to being able to do other things. And I would recommend that a business owner, when you see that or you experience that, you work with somebody who can help you do that. And I'll have somebody on the show to do that. Amanda Russo was here, and that's one of the things she's so amazingly good at. But you still want to keep your employees on, right? You're not trying to do it to get rid of employees. Yeah. You're trying to do it to expand.
Good morning, Tim. Tim says just because they are researching on the internet doesn't necessarily make them better informed.
I agree with that. Okay. Well, you can't believe everything.
Well, here's the sales, and this is for people. If you own a business, you're in sales, because whatever your business is, whether it's a good or service, you're in sales. It's 98% emotional. People buy things for emotion. It's either going to make me feel good or oh my gosh, my water heater just went out, so I'm scared. I need to get a new water. You know what I'm saying? Right. So sales is still emotional. Here's the thing I think interesting about today's consumer is I can't be that greasy greasy insurance salesman. I can't be that greasy used car guy and pull the wool over your eyes anymore, right? Because
there's still plenty of that going on, because again, if you're dealing in a world that you don't know, that's not your world, right? So you're going to an expert. That's why you don't just take one and say he or she. That's the person.
Yeah.
Unless you know that person and you've gotten to know that person, right? We all do business with those we know, like, and trust. But get to that trust point before you just dive into working with somebody, especially when it's working with your money. But look, you go to a grocery store. The grocery store is a great environment to learn about emotional buying.
Yeah.
Right? Because they have all the candy bars right there at checkout.
Yeah.
Right? They've got the Red Bull machines right there at checkout.
Well, the magazines.
The sodas and the cookies and all the sweets and all the treats and all the stuff that probably has a greater profit margin for them. And we know you go in into the aisles, and the middle shelves are for the higher end product.
Yeah.
Right. The top shelf is a little bit lower end product, and the bottom shelf is for the kids. Right.
Yeah.
And it's all about that emotional buying.
Yeah. So I think, they are researching, and I would disagree. I think they are better informed, because there used to be a time we'd go buy a car and the salesman, hey man, this thing's got a 350 Hemi, the floor mats, cruise, windows go up and down.
Fully loaded.
I mean, how many cars were sold back in the day because it's got a vanity mirror for you, So again, I go on, and when I go to a car lot now, I have looked at this thing 3 ways to Thursday with the 36 pictures that are online. I know what a fair price is for this now. You know what I mean? It's not.
Well, you can do that.
Yeah.
And smart folks will do that, but not all folks will do that.
Right.
And I shouldn't say just smart folks. All folks have levels of intelligence, but you can do that. But you're still taking that car because I love that car. I love the way that car looks.
Yeah.
Or
that's still emotional.
Look at every commercial, auto commercial.
Yeah.
Every car is flying down the road.
Yeah.
They're all speeding. They're selling the performance of the car.
Oh yeah.
And it's like you're flying through the city. down side streets or whatever. You're flying through the desert.
Or the best ones I like are the Jeep and 4-wheel drivers that are out on the side of a mountain showing them 4-wheel driving, and the people who buy them they're not even going to see gravel.
And they had find the typical one.
That's right. That's right.
But it's true. So
Yeah.
you're still buying on emotion.
Yeah.
Even though you're still going to do your research and say, okay, it is a good car, but you chose that car because
it's still emotion. That's why I say 98% emotional. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just down last October. I was down in Texas visiting my son, and we were at the state fair. They do a state fair. It was a really cool one. But they had cars, autos, in tents that you could go check out and everything. And they had the new Jeep Grand Cherokee L.
Oh, I love that.
My son sat in it, and as soon as he came out, you could just see his eyes just glassed over. He's just, I'm just love. And
I want to get
2 weeks later, he gets T-boned in an intersection. Somebody runs a red light. He's fine, but he's got to get a new car. And guess what he gets? And don't tell me that wasn't emotional.
That's right.
Now, it's a good car.
Oh yeah.
Right. But
I like the Grand Wagoneer. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I want that Wagoneer, but that's way out of my price range. Sally says, selling our value to our customers is the most important thing we do. It's important to prove to them that we add value to the knowledge they can find on their own. Most customers are interested in quote unquote, why work with you when I can just find all the information myself? It's interesting how many people think that way, but there's still degrees of licensing for a reason. However, there are people who don't operate with integrity, which instills doubt in our customers. It's like we can no longer, then she ran out of space.
Well, so, good point. Great point, Sally. First of all, it does make our job harder for those of us who have integrity. For those of us who believe in professionalism, believe in honesty and ethics, morals, and all of those things, it makes it harder for us because people have been preconditioned. Like in my world, people have been preconditioned to think, oh, I can't work for this guy. He probably charges a whole lot of money, or he probably requires me to have $1 million or something. And none of that's true. You know me, I don't charge for consultation and conversations and I don't have a minimum amount of money that you have to have. I help all people. But Sally, great point about the value as well.
Yeah.
Because far too often we're trying to sell a product or a service, and we should really be selling the value of our product and our service.
And let's talk about, if we go to how most people think. So I'm going to use your industry. I started by inputting what is the best investment, and it filled in for your money, right?
Yeah.
So hey, let's go with that. So that's what people do on their search, which then the first thing that comes up is savings account. Get $100 cash bonus.
Yep.
Best yield savings is number 2. Best retirement income ETF. 7% income distribution. Now, depending on, and that's a big Forbes.com. That must be good stuff, right? So this is how people start their search and go, well, Bill, I appreciate what you're saying, but I can make $100 cash bonus on that savings account.
Well, or they say, I can go with those guys in that commercial because they see their fiduciary now.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, well, you have to catch up. But it's there's people all different directions, and especially in the financial world, they don't really want to go anywhere until they want to do something.
Yeah.
Actually, and most people don't want to do anything because they don't understand it. They don't want to do it until they have to.
Right. Inside bitcoins.com is, hey, here's the best investments.
With inflation comes higher interest rates. With higher interest rates, it doesn't really help cryptocurrencies,
right?
Historically,
just saying,
and very short historically.
But so that's how most people start there. All right, hey, you know what? We got grandma died. We got a little bit of cash. We're either going to go out and buy an RV, a new TV, or a car, or maybe we should put this away for a rainy day. What's the best thing to do? Boom. Now what happens is I end up going to my bank and saying, hey, the savings account, this money, $30,000, and they say the savings account's the best place to put it. Well, maybe a money market because you can get 0.005, or whatever, right? But
well, that's kind of the problem we're running into right now today. Is I think it's on a lot of people's minds are, what do you do with your money nowadays? Yeah. Because a savings account, a CD, a money market, bonds, you're not making any money.
Right.
The yield's too low. And you don't want to be on the low end of buying bonds when interest rates are about to go up, right? That just makes you more worthless. But then I don't want to go in the market either. So we've seen recently a outflow of people who were all over these ETFs, which are exchange traded funds. They can be made up in a variety of ways. It could be a basket of stocks. It could be 4 or 5. It could be a basket of mutual funds. But,
right.
So there's different ways to make those up, but people are getting away from those. They don't like it, and they're getting back to more like individual stocks. Now, obviously, the risk goes up higher.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of concern about risk this year in the market. I think the S&P is down about 9% thus far this year. We had a pretty wild day on Monday.
Monday was crazy. Yeah.
Probably going to see more of that. And the reasons why you see days like that, it's all based on news. Right? There's no other information out there, so we base it on news. And on Monday, it was really about Ukraine. But each day a market can be easily influenced by any kind of a news story.
Sure.
When there's no real information.
Well, and today everybody's holding their breath to see.
Yeah, it's interesting because as I was driving in, I heard that the pre-markets were up pretty good, and so sometimes knowledge is helpful. Like if instead of trying to guess what the Feds are going to do, knowing what they're going to do creates, then we know what to do.
Yeah.
Again, knowledge gives you options.
Yeah.
Right. Options of freedom. So I think that's part of what might drive that market today. Yeah. But again, any kind of story could come out and knock everything out of the water at any time of the day.
Yeah.
Day traders know this, and they know to pay attention. If you're a day trader, you have to pay attention all day.
All day. Of course, you're listening to 21/6 the Net. This is Innovative Strategies with Bill Haase. Of course, you can email Bill if you have questions, or you'd just like to render his services at bill@billhaase.com. That's Bill, BILL, at BILLHAASE.com, or shoot us an email here at 216thenet at gmail.com and just put Innovative Strategies in the subject line. We'll make sure Bill gets it.
Yes, sir. And you gotta love Tim Stewart, right? Because he agrees with me.
Oh, well, I don't have to love him, but
you do automatically.
Live studio audience.
Here's the thing in sales. The problem in sales is we've, and I talked about this in the 90s. I did an article in the Washington Post, and I said we're going to get ourselves in trouble in sales because we're not looking at the relationship anymore.
Yeah.
We're looking at pushing quotas. You got 30, 60, 90 days to meet your quota or you're fired.
Yeah.
Well, okay, folks.
How'd that work out for you?
The corporate world's on the other side of the coin, and we're saying, no, you're going to pay me $150,000 instead of $100,000, or I ain't working for you. So,
where is that? How do I get that job?
Right? But people have been preconditioned in sales.
Yeah.
That's why we have like gatekeepers. How do you get past the gatekeeper? Right? Well, it's because we've been preconditioned to shove products or services down people's throats instead of having a relationship, instead of telling them what the value of what your product or service can bring.
Right.
And specifically how it can bring. Hey, look, it can save you money, but not just save you money, because everybody can say that, right?
Yeah.
It's not just save you money, but it gives you opportunity. Because you now have money for opportunity to grow in some other aspect that you probably need to grow.
And I forget, now you got to get creative. Way back in the day, two bald guys and a microphone, we had a gentleman on who, to get by the gatekeeper, he would go into the office like a delivery guy, and he would have a card. And he would drop it off and say, hey, this is for Bill Haase. I need you to sign here for it. Right. And the gatekeeper would sign the name.
Yep.
Right. And then they would deliver the card and it'd say, Bill, hey, thanks. This is Kent Jones. I'm going to give you a call on Thursday at 2 p.m. To discuss a couple things. And then I would call it Thursday at 2 p.m., your number, and, and say, hey, I know you got my card because, he's got the gatekeeper's name, Mary, right?
Great gal.
Great gal.
No.
And I'm like, that I forget who that was, but it's absolutely ingenious. And I'm like, well, that's a great way to do it.
That is getting creative.
Yeah.
I've done door knocking in my day.
Right.
And in our industry, that was something that we all did. We go out to a commercial area of buildings and start knocking on doors of business owners. And ironically, the second door I ever knocked on, I wrote a $10 million buy-sell agreement.
Wow, awesome.
Which was hitting a home run.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
I'm done for the day. No, but and then the next door that I went to, it was almost like, yo, get away.
Yeah.
We don't want to talk to you. We don't care what you're saying.
I'm a $10 million man. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You want to talk to me.
Care. We don't even know what you're selling. We just don't want it. We know we don't want it.
Yeah.
And there is that aspect because people, again, preconditioned. They think we don't need. Look at the one of the big issues and problems that small businesses have when they're growing and they get into their medium-sized business is they patchwork their systems together.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of when they first get a system put in, think about kind of where you want to go, how you get there, which can be difficult. I get it. And what kind of system do I need in place that can grow with me? Instead of patchwork and having people come in and say, I can sell you this patch, that's going to be great for what you're looking for to do right now.
Right.
But then that creates another issue.
It's the old farmhouse, as I say.
And then you get to a certain point where the system doesn't work anymore because
right.
New systems and old systems don't necessarily they're not compatible.
It's that old farmhouse, you see. Oh, there's an addition. There's an addition on the addition. There's an addition on the addition on the addition. Oh, why is the roof leaking?
Yeah. Now it's an addition.
Why is the roof leaking?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But that's so that's a very common thing that happens as small, medium-sized business owners. They have the patchwork, and then all of a sudden it doesn't work. Doesn't talk to each other.
Yeah.
Because your business has expanded not just in Chicagoland, but now it's throughout the country.
Throughout the country.
Okay, well that's a different world, and there are folks. Amanda Russo, who is extremely good at correcting that mistake that business owners make. But again, once you get to that point, then a business owner looks at it and says, "Yeah, you people, you got me in this position."
Yeah.
And so, how do I trust you to get me out of it?
Yeah.
And again, you got to get creative. And I agree with Sally. You got to talk about selling value.
Yeah.
But you do need to be a little bit more.
Of course.
Specific in depth.
Of course, I'd be remiss to say we brought up Two Bald Guys and a Microphone. Of course, tonight at 5:30 p.m., a new episode of Two Bald Guys and Mike. Great show, which is designed to help people break through some of the issues that they don't know that they need breaking through. So good stuff. Tonight is getting under the frost line, and what a great day for it.
Nice.
Because
it's only 11 below.
Right, that's it. Bill, another inbox question that came in over the last few weeks is why such a passion for small business?
Well, so when I learned a couple of things, this all hit me over the last couple of weeks, to be honest with you. I learned 1.4 million new business startups last year alone. Wow. 1.4 million new startups.
Now, these are legit businesses, or are these, the matrixed?
Well, I think they're legit in the minds of the people who are starting the business.
Okay, fair enough.
Because if it's considered a startup business and it's new, that means they've gone into a sole prop.
Okay, so they've filed. Yeah, okay.
They've filed. So
with the Secretary of State.
Business.
Yeah.
You learn that 99.9% of all businesses in this country are small to medium-sized businesses. So, in 99.9% of businesses have 500 or less employees.
Wow.
So about 88% of the businesses in this country have 20 or less employees.
Wow.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
We've had discussions, with business. How do you know what's your next step?
Yeah.
Or how can I grow? How can I expand my market? And it's smart to start a small market and then grow out. So I want to help folks. I want to help people understand how to do that and step by step. And I'm not the expert in all areas there. I'm bringing people in that will tell you some of the hiccups you can expect to come across, some of the challenges that you'll come across, and bring with them the solutions and how to move forward and grow.
I mean, you've played both sides. You've been corporate, non-corporate, right? And when, as it says in the opening, 30 plus years in the financial industry, a lot of your clients are business owners.
Correct.
So there's a lot of good stories and things that you've watched, learned, and understood.
Yeah.
There's a lot of advice that what you've given that wasn't followed, I'm sure.
Well, there's always that. And the CPAs will tell you when they talk to business owners that, business owners typically don't follow their directions either.
Right.
So yes, I've done enough with business owners over the years to understand the trials and tribulations they run into.
Yeah.
And then not know where to go or what to do.
Yeah.
And so let's provide them with an opportunity to help them learn where to go and what to do.
Yeah.
And we'll bring in, like I said, we're going to bring in experts from all different areas that you can even imagine. So you can't imagine. I mean, I'm looking forward to possibly doing a series with an employment lawyer that I had the distinct pleasure of meeting yesterday. Super young man, super smart, and we can help businesses because boy, oh boy, when I talked to that, I told you I went to that door and knocked on it, got a $10 million buy-sell agreement. And I said, how long before you start bringing in employees? And they said, a month or two. I said, well, do you have an employee handbook even? I'm like, I don't know. What do we need that for? He said, because if you don't even have that, your business is vulnerable. You can hire them to come in for a week. They get upset about something and they turn around and sue you, and they automatically win because you don't have an employee handbook to tell them what the rules and regs are.
Yeah.
I brought Peter in on that.
Yeah.
So Peter didn't work for that business. So that's something a little bit different that I can bring up into play that maybe other advisors are not as adept in that area, because all advisors have a tendency to focus on one side or the other, the finance side or the insurance side. And I do both of those, and then the business side as well. So, and we're also going to bring people in to do work-life balance.
Yeah.
It's important that you take care of your home life and your personal life as a business owner. It's just as important as it is taking care of your business. And the number one problem with small business owners is they don't pay themselves.
I know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You live that.
Yeah.
That's
right.
And you have to, because what happens if your business does fail for whatever reason? And trust me, it doesn't matter how great things are going. I have a good friend who owned a bath and kitchen remodeling business, number one in the state. Last May, I talked with him. He said he was going to have the best year ever by double. And by October, he was closed.
Wow.
He was booked out 9 months, turning down business right and left, but he was closed because it was harder to get products.
Right.
And it was harder to find workers. And he was paying top dollar for workers. He was providing health care. He was providing 401k. He was providing profit sharing. And he couldn't keep, these guys, construction guys, carpenter guys, and stuff like that. He couldn't keep them.
Right.
And so you need to learn how to pay yourself in case something like that happens, and you can move forward and get on with life. But and you're not sitting there stuck going into bankruptcy.
Right.
So nobody loves at any point in time in life, but it is another tool. Some advisors, but you'll find CPAs will talk to business owners and they'll say, you need to learn to read your financial sheets and your management sheets, and you need to understand how money is working within your business. I talk to business owners that send trucks out, and I say, all right, so what do you charge for that? $70. I said, okay, what's it cost you? Huh? They don't know.
Right.
It's like, okay, then how do you come up with the $70 charge? That's what everybody charges.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's a little bit under what everybody charges. And anybody in the sales world will tell you, or should know, you don't sell by price. You sell by price, you rent the client.
Right.
You sell by quality, you own the client.
Right.
But still, everybody left so many people out there selling by price. But so business owners need to learn how to read the different financial sheets that they have at their fingertips, so they know the flow of money, they know where it's all at, because that's what keeps the business owner up at night.
Right.
They don't know where the money is. They don't know what's going to be there, what isn't going to be there, what's coming in, what's going out. Accounts receivable, is it growing? Is it shrinking?
Right.
Is it on a timely manner? I have $50,000 accounts receivable. It's supposed to come in this month, and I got to buy this piece of equipment at the end of the month. And oh my God, I hope this all comes together.
Yeah.
And we all know that many of us have experienced where people pay slowly.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes not at all.
And sometimes not at all. No.
But so there's, I know some folks that have started up businesses that will only do business if you pay up front. And that's a challenge too.
That's a big challenge.
Especially if it's a heavy price tag. So,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to, I know a web designer, okay, it's going to cost you $5,000 to have your web page done.
Yeah.
Okay. But we haven't even talked about what I want on it. And what I wanted to do, and you're already telling me it's going to cost $5,000, and I'm sitting there going,
Yeah. Yeah.
What if I just want a really simple one? Or what if I need one that's much more intricate and interactive?
Yeah. Speaking of paying yourself, what about real estate as far as investment?
Long-term real estate that's a double-edged sword. That's really a double-edged sword. I can honestly, people will call me out and say, I knew him when he used to say it's the worst investment out there.
Sure.
Because it's a guaranteed money loser.
Yeah.
You pay $300,000 for a home. You get a 30-year conventional loan, right? You're paying that back. You look at the amortization schedule and you see that you're paying back. By the time you're done, you've paid back $680,000.
Yeah.
Right. And so you've lost a lot of money there. The upkeep and management of a home, it costs money. Then you're paying property taxes.
Yeah.
That's costing money. And then you go to sell that home and you sell it for, 10 years later, you sell it for $400,000. Man, I made $100,000 on this.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, you didn't.
No.
No, you didn't.
No. So, yeah. So really, I think the answer to that, if you've listened to the show, followed the show for quite some time, is that's a question you can't answer until you sit down and talk with somebody like Bill to find out what your goal, strategy, all that good stuff is, right?
Yeah, so look at the biggest piece of the pie. And when we first started this show, I used to talk about this pie. The biggest piece of the pie being the money that the wages you bring home, where do they go to?
Yeah.
And the biggest piece of the pie is interest.
Yeah.
Interest on your mortgage, interest on your credit cards, interest on your car loan. Typically, that's where the biggest portion of your money is being attached to.
Right.
That's money that's just gone.
Yeah.
It's just gone.
It's gone. Yeah.
You buy a car, you rent. Rent an apartment, $2,000 a month. That's $2,000 a month. That's gone.
Gone.
You're not getting equity.
You need a place to live. Understand that. But
So in owning a home, I can tell you there's advantages to it too, right? That you're building equity.
Yeah.
You're not losing all of your money.
You're hopefully right.
And if you rent it for 10 years, you're out all that money, and you own a home for 10 years, at least you've got a bunch of money coming back.
Right. Well, I think it's important to your business, your financial literacy has to. You have to have a plan for yourself. My brother-in-law does a great job. He's got 6, 7, 8. He's got 6, 7, 8 rental properties, and he has been doing that for several years. And he, a better portion of them are there's no mortgage on them. Right.
That's good.
So he's done a nice job. So that's income. right? But again, I can look at that and go, oh, well, he's doing that. Maybe I should. Well, he's been doing it for 10, 20 years,
And he survived through '08,
Right. And
where many did not.
right. And so the interesting thing is, you can't necessarily, his goal is different than my goal, and his his overall strategy a little bit different than what mine is, and that's okay. But I can tell you, by selling money to buy houses is what I do, right? I sell people
Right.
money so they can buy a house.
Right.
A house is not an investment unless you can get rid of it before you have to make a payment on it.
Well, I can actually show you a way
Right?
where I can bypass you, and I can recapture all my money.
Mm-hmm.
There's a way to do that.
Yeah, not many people know that.
It's called being your own bank.
Right.
There's a way to accomplish that.
Yeah.
It's also a way to get out of debt.
Yep.
And I've talked about this on the show. If you want to buy a car, you pull money out of this product and tax free, and you pay for it, and then you
Pay yourself back.
And you recapture.
You have to have
your
that
money.
discipline to pay yourself back.
That is the ultimate best way to
Sure.
To work with your money. Wanted to see what Sally was saying.
Yeah.
I can't read.
Sally says, for so many, this is their quote unquote growth year. They've survived COVID. They've made an extra year in business, and now they're ready to grow again and focus not on survival mode, but on growth mode. The interesting thing with that is DDOE Enterprises, who owns 21/6 the Net, actually their two best years for growth were in 2020 and 2021.
Oh, well, congratulations.
So when you look at that, and of course we're different.
Investors should be flagging.
But
But
it'd be nice. Send your checks to.
yeah, you know what? I agree with you, Sally. Although I would have agreed with you a year ago
Right.
if you'd have said that.
Yeah.
And we still had a problem. And who knows how many more
I
variations.
don't know.
are
Look
coming.
at that.
We're hearing one from Russia, one from China, one from.
She's
Europe.
grown that business 400%. I don't know. That's
Yeah. I think you got to bring her in on this business.
Right.
And I'll happily bring her in on mine. But I do think you're right, Sally. I think people have gotten past the I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm just so done with all of this and everything else. I think they're past that to the point where they're saying, you know what? If this is going to be the way it is, then okay, I got to start going forward.
Yeah.
I can't sit around waiting for this to be over with and get kicked in gear. Let's get our stuff together.
Well, and once the employers, business owners realize that the you're lucky to have employees rather than telling the employee you're lucky to have a job. I think that you're lucky to have a job days are over. And if you
for now,
if you have,
it'll flip back.
well, it always does, right? It's
The
cyclical.
corporate world doesn't like being held up against the wall.
No, but you can take a look at platforms like Google, and oh, it's open. They got free yogurt. They got this. They got that. They got the third. Yeah, but they got you. So you say, I'm glad that I work for Google, not Google saying, I'm glad you work for me.
Yeah,
Right.
And the interesting part is that I don't think the corporate world's getting it yet. At least the big boys aren't.
Right.
That it's more about culture, or equally as much about culture as it is about money.
More than ever, yeah.
I think that in the younger group of folks, I love that about that mindset that they have. I'd rather work in a place that I can enjoy.
Yeah.
Our generation grew up always saying, hey, you can do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
And everybody would say, but how the hell do I do what I love?
Right.
I don't know. How am I going to make a living off it?
That's not it. That's what we always said. But
Yeah.
our generation said, hey, man, go to work for one of the big five and work there for 30 years and retire.
Right. Right. Retire with all kinds of health
That's it.
issues,
So
stress issues.
Right. So my
that's
dad went to GMAC, General Motors Institute, not GMAC, General Motors Institute. And he worked for Oldsmobile. And Oldsmobile, for those of you out there, used to be an automobile manufacturer. here in the United States.
I used to drive one.
Yeah, we all did, right?
Uh,
So interesting, but and that was it. You become an engineer, you work, in 30 years, you're out. Life's good.
yeah, except for that 30 years where life isn't so good. But, in 30, 40 years,
You get a pension from them.
I can't tell you how many people I know in the corporate world that are only there because of the money they're making. Otherwise, they hate it.
Yeah.
And every year it's like, oh, maybe this is the year I'll get fired, and
Yeah.
I'm actually okay with that.
Well, yeah. I mean,
But there are plenty of really wonderful people in the corporate world. Let's not just slam.
they're great.
There's plenty of very, very phenomenal leadership folks in roles, but again, there's a lot that people who have let's say lack leadership skills that are in that corporate world as well. And now what you're having is because look at all the commercials we hear about radio, TV, and everything for all these different staffing companies.
Yeah.
And we had Ben and Carrie here with their staffing company on the show, and we certainly wish them the best. But they're having a hard time finding people to fill positions, and so what you're going to see, and what we are seeing, is that corporations are starting to fill positions with lesser qualified people. And so now you get these folks that get into a position that you're now global head of HR.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know people that sit there and go, I don't even know how I got here. Or I don't even know if I have the qualifications or the knowledge or the experience.
Yeah, that is
to really do this job.
That term is called Chicago Baird.
Hey, we got a new GM.
Yeah, again.
So we got a new GM coming, a new coach coming, and we'll still find a way to
perhaps
destroy our new quarterback.
Of course, all of his years of being a general manager. Oh, he didn't have any? So as you were saying, they're qualified people.
Was in the Bears organization back in 08.
Yeah, of course.
So
he doesn't have to drink as much Kool-Aid.
Yeah, that's you can boy. You could go on about that organization. And that whole division
in general, just
look at Matthew Stafford. He had some great years up there in Detroit, but
he's a good
since
quarterback.
He's left Detroit, he's breaking out.
Yeah.
And that's happened to I don't know how many quarterbacks that have left Chicago and Robbie Gould.
How about that? Yeah.
Robbie kicking all those field goals, winning games.
Still.
Wasn't good enough for us.
Yeah. 11 good years. 11 good years. Here.
He's in the playoffs.
Yeah. 11 good years.
But so organizations of all different sizes, shapes, kinds, they run into their issues, their problems, their troubles, and so what we're going to do is we're going to bring down some quality people, and we're going to talk about what those are. Yeah. We're going to talk about how you can eliminate, resolve those issues and concerns, and move forward, because that's really the goal for any business owner or anybody in business, and is how do I keep moving forward?
Yeah.
I don't want to be taking steps back and reacting. You want to be more active, proactive. But to be proactive, that takes time.
Yeah.
It takes energy. And
that it does.
Business owners tend to lose.
Yeah.
They don't have enough time. They're tired. So we're going to talk about the personal side too.
That's good.
Personal financial side, personal health side.
Yeah, that's important.
The value, that work-life balance that has finally come to the forefront of people's mindsets.
Yeah. Good
cultures. Setting a good culture. That's vitally important.
Yeah. Good.
We're trying to attract and retain good people. Well, you got to be good people to begin.
That's it. Of course, we're down to the 2-minute warning here. Speaking of football and of this show, so great stuff. Good inbox questions. Really appreciate everybody sending those in. Send them back to us. I think is or send more or respond to them is good. So
yeah, we love it.
We'd love to chat more. Next week we'll have a good guest. Great show today. Just to get through that inbox. So
to another guest so you don't have to listen to just Kent and I.
Well, yeah. Yeah, it's not that we're bad.
Okay, anybody tell you how good looking you are today?
No, not yet. Thank you.
All right, well, it's always tomorrow.
I'll hold on for that. I'll find a way. Of course, for all of us here, 216 Net, thanks for getting caught in the net with us this morning. You've been listening to Innovative Strategies with Bill Haase. Email him at bill@billhaase.com for any financial question, and or if you've got a small business you'd like to be part of the show, please email him and he'll set up a time to give you some questions with Sally. I think you're meeting with she and Tim today to talk about a little bit of that. So I think that's a fantastic thing, and we will we'll just make sure that happens. So until tonight, we'll come back 12:30 today. We've got questions you never thought you could ask in church. Great episode coming up today at 12:30 Central. And then at 5:30 Central time, here is two bald guys and Mike getting below the frost line. So
Glad that show's back.
for all of us, enjoy and make today great.